When you think of a cheetah, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Speed, right? An icon of the African savannah. But as we're about to see, the real story of the cheetah is so much more than just being fast. It's a fascinating tale of intelligence, of strategy, and of survival against some pretty incredible odds.
You know, when you hear cheetahs versus lions, your mind might jump straight to the rugby pitch. It's a classic rivalry, a real contest of agility and speed against raw, brute force, playing out in stadiums with thousands of fans.
But nope, that's not the rivalry we're talking about. We're talking about the original contest, the one that's been playing out for thousands of years on the vast open plains of the African savannah.
To really get this ancient conflict, you first have to understand the competitors. So let's set the stage and compare the two apex predators at the very heart of this story.
I mean, just look at this. You're seeing two completely different evolutionary blueprints for success. On one side, you've got the cheetah, an aerodynamic marvel, literally built for explosive, record-breaking speed. And on the other, the lion, a powerhouse of pure muscle, tipping the scales at up to 225 kilos, designed not for a quick sprint, but for overwhelming strength and teamwork.
But here's the catch. The cheetah's greatest superpower, that incredible speed, it comes at a really steep price. It's a trade-off that makes its entire life a constant high-wire act.
See, that same lightweight frame that lets it hit those crazy speeds makes it incredibly vulnerable in a straight-up fight. After a high-speed chase, it's completely gassed and can easily lose its hard-won meal to a lion or a pack of hyenas. And if that wasn't enough, the whole species has this remarkably low genetic diversity, which makes them really susceptible to disease.
So all these factors put the cheetah in a really tough spot. And believe me, that danger is most intense for their cubs.
Just 5%. Let that sink in for a second. That's the survival rate for cheetah cubs making it to adulthood in the wild. It is a shockingly low number, and it all comes down to the constant crushing pressure from predators like lions and hyenas. They are by far the biggest reason so few cubs survive.
So with odds that are just almost impossible, how on earth does the cheetah manage to survive? Well, for decades, the accepted scientific theory was pretty simple. They run and they hide.
This idea is called the landscape of fear. It's basically a world where weaker predators are always making a tough choice: safety or resources. They're forced to avoid the best hunting grounds, the best water sources, all to steer clear of the dominant predators. They get pushed to the margins, trying to eke out a living.
And this is exactly how scientists have seen the cheetah for years. This quote here sums it up perfectly. We saw them as these perpetual outcasts, always on the run, totally unable to compete for the best real estate on the savannah.
But what if that whole picture is wrong? New research is flipping this entire idea on its head, revealing that the cheetah isn't just a victim, it's a master strategist.
Right? What if they weren't just reacting to fear? What if they figured out a smarter way to live, right alongside their greatest enemy?
So to test this, researchers set up this massive grid of 225 camera traps all across the Serengeti. And the data they got back was, well, surprising. Turns out, cheetahs were not avoiding the best hunting grounds at all. In fact, they were using the exact same resource-rich areas as lions. They weren't fugitives in the margins. They were right there in the heart of the action.
So how in the world do they do it? The secret is this brilliant strategy called fine-scale temporal avoidance. I know it sounds super technical, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It means the cheetah's survival plan isn't about where it is, but when it's there. It's not about avoiding a place, it's about avoiding a moment.
Okay, so here's how it works. Picture this. A lion is hanging out in a prime spot with lots of prey. The cheetah knows this, and it stays far away. But the second that lion moves on, bam! The cheetah moves in, taking advantage of the same rich resources before the lion comes back. They're basically running a timeshare with their biggest threat, using an invisible schedule that we could only figure out thanks to hundreds of hidden cameras.
And the data was incredibly precise. The researchers found that cheetahs were never, not even once, seen at a camera site within 12 hours of a lion being there. That's not a coincidence. It's a finely tuned, moment-to-moment risk management that lets them coexist. It's genius.
This incredible intelligence just goes to show that the cheetah is so much more adaptable and resilient than we ever gave it credit for. But in today's world, it faces threats that even the most brilliant strategy can't overcome.
If we look at the global picture, the situation is, well, it's precarious. While some populations in southern and eastern Africa are listed as vulnerable, the northwest African cheetah and the Asiatic cheetah, which is only found in Iran, are both critically endangered. They're just clinging to survival by a thread. As of 2021, this is our best guess for the entire global cheetah population, and that number is going down. The threats today aren't just lions and hyenas anymore. They're habitat loss, conflict with humans, and poaching, and those are challenges that require a lot more than clever timing to solve. So this research really changes how we have to think about them. In its natural world, the cheetah is not some fragile fugitive. As the researchers point out, it's an intelligent, adaptable survivor that has mastered the art of living with danger. It's a strategist, not just a sprinter.
And this brings us to the ultimate challenge. The cheetah's story is a powerful lesson in resilience, right? It evolved this ingenious solution to survive one of nature's most intense rivalries. But the big question that's left is whether this master survivor can overcome the new, human-made landscape of fear that threatens its very future.